Hi everybody, we are going to start reading Flat Stanley. The first chapter is called The Big Bulletin Board. And this is Stanley's brother Arthur. He looks panicked, like, oh no! Like, see what happened. Breakfast was ready. I will go wake the boys, Mrs. Lambchop said to her husband, George Lambchop. Just then the younger son, Arthur, called from the bedroom he shared with his brother Stanley. So the two boys share a bedroom. Do you guys share a bedroom with your siblings? Hey, come and look, hey! Mr. and Mrs. Lambchop were both very much in favor of politeness and careful speech. Hay is for horses, Arthur, not people, Mr. Lambchop said as they entered the bedroom. Try to remember that. Excuse me, Arthur said, but look! He pointed to Stanley's bed. Across it lay the enormous bulletin board that Mr. Lambchop had given the boys a Christmas ago, so that they could pin up pictures and messages and maps. It had fallen during the night on top of Stanley, but Stanley was not hurt. In fact, he would still have been sleeping if he had not been woken up by his brother's shout. What's going on here? He called out cheerfully from beneath the enormous board. Mr. and Mrs. Lambchop hurried to lift it off of his bed. Heavens, said Mrs. Lambchop. Gosh, said Arthur. Stanley's flat. Oh, no. A big board was laying over him. His dad's holding it. And it made him flat. As a pancake, said Mr. Lambchop. Darndest thing I've ever seen. Let's all have breakfast, Mrs. Lambchop said. Then Stanley and I will go see Dr. Dan and hear what he has to say. In his office, Dr. Dan examined Stanley all over. How do you feel? He asked. Does it hurt very much? I felt sort of tickly for a while after I got up, Stanley Lambchop said. But I feel fine now. Well, that's mostly how it is with these cases, said Mr. Dan. We'll just have to keep an eye on this young fellow, he said when he had finished the examination. Sometimes we doctors, despite all of our years of training and experience, can only marvel at how little we really know. So this is Stanley's doctor. And can you guys point to Stanley? Yep, you're right. That's Stanley. He is flat. And the doctor's confused in how this happened. Mrs. Lambchop said she thought Stanley's clothes would have to be altered by the tailor now. So Dr. Dan told his nurse to take Stanley's measurements. Mrs. Lambchop wrote them down. Stanley was 4 feet, about a foot wide, and a half of an inch thick. So he was only like that thick. So the nurse is measuring him. So mom knows what size clothes to get him. And now we're on chapter 2. To be continued. Bye, guys.